Hello, everyone. I wanted to talk today a few words about preventive healthcare. So I have only one slide, and I will use that to illustrate the current status of healthcare. So what we have here, on the left side of the image, you can see that people are running down from the cliff, and then they drop in the ground, and there is an ambulance helping the people. So there is an ambulance helping sick people. This is the current healthcare. Healthcare is helping people who are already sick. So actually, it's not healthcare, it's sick care. On the other side of the image, what we have done there, we decided to build a fence so people won't drop off from the cliff. And now I think one very important point is that building that fence up there is a lot cheaper than treating the sick people. So this is why prevention is very important. We need to prevent the diseases before their onset in order to run healthcare in the future. This is actually something that we don't have a luxury to choose. We don't have a luxury to choose that let's do prevention. We have to do prevention. Otherwise, there will be not enough doctors, there is not enough money. We cannot treat everyone who is sick. So this is why we need prevention. So I guess that this is something that you have heard today quite many times already. In many discussions that I'm having, people say to me like, well, but everyone is doing prevention. There is nothing new about this. This is actually something that I rather strongly disagree. Everyone is talking about prevention. Almost no one is doing it. So what do you need for prevention? What it takes to happen? And I will explain how the prevention is actually done, and at the same time describe why it is very difficult, why no one is actually doing it. So there are three things that you need to enable prevention. The first step is screening. Why do we need screening? We need screening to find the people who have a risk of getting a disease. How can we do prevention if we cannot find the people from the population? So we need to screen a lot of people. This is the only way to do it because there is no kind of a secret way of choosing the people otherwise. We need to screen and detect the people who have a risk of getting a disease. So this is the first point. Then the second point is diagnostics. So what diagnostics means is that we have a way of finding out what is the individual status of the disease. Why we need this is that we need to prescribe an intervention for the individual. And now just to give an example, what's the difference in screening and diagnostics is that everyone has heard that eating fish is healthy. Eating fish is healthy in population. So if you screen people and in this population people are eating fish, it's most likely healthy. But then, when you diagnose the individuals, you don't know, is it beneficial to eat fish for an individual? Population risk is a different thing than the individual risk. So we need to diagnose in order to prescribe a treatment for the individual. Then the third point is that after prescribing the treatment, we need to follow up. Is it actually working? So if you take, for example, drugs are not working for everyone. We believe that it's kind of the silver bullet of treating a disease, but it's not like that. So we need to follow up. So the three things to enable prevention. We need to screen the people, find who has a risk of getting a disease. When we find the individuals, we need to diagnose them and prescribe interventions that work for the individuals. And then after prescribing the treatment, we need to follow up to understand if the treatment is working. So how the healthcare is working today? Healthcare is working today in a way that let's take an example of heart diseases. How do we diagnose heart diseases? We diagnose it with a cholesterol test. So actually healthcare is not basically screening, it is rather trying to diagnose the individuals with a cholesterol test. If your cholesterol is high, the treatment is statin medication. So you get statins, and then the healthcare follows up your LDL cholesterol. The problem here is that if you take individuals who have suffered a heart attack, 70% of those people, they have normal cholesterol values. So it doesn't work very well. The reason for this is actually, it makes a lot of sense, and it's rather easy to understand. So if you take heart diseases, if you take diabetes, they are both very systemic diseases, meaning that what you have inherited, what is your living style, how do you exercise, how do you sleep, how do you live your life? Everything contributes to the risk of a chronic disease such as diabetes and heart disease. So now if you try to quantify this complexity with one marker, LDL cholesterol, it doesn't work. It's more dynamic, the system. You need more data. You need a bigger window to the biology to understand what is really going on. So this is what we do at Nightingale. We take the same blood sample as is being used for the cholesterol test. But instead of these 4 biomarkers coming from the cholesterol test, we provide more than 200 different markers describing how the metabolism is working. So what we are doing, we are kind of with the data, we are broadening the window that we are looking. We see a broader picture of the biology. And now, when the disease is rather individual for everyone, we have a better possibility, better likelihood to understand the individual differences, to understand the risk better. So what happens? I go back to the 3 points that I described earlier. So first, screening. When we screen people with Nightingale technology, we can actually detect people, we can actually detect earlier people who have a risk of getting a chronic disease. Because we have more data, we have broader window to the biology. Then once we recognize the individuals, when we go to diagnostics, our panel includes biomarkers that are already known to be also good for individual diagnostics. Very common and easy example is biomarkers called apolipoproteins. So there are people who have low LDL cholesterol, and so they have a low risk for heart disease. But actually, their apolipoprotein levels are too high, meaning that they actually have a high risk. But if the apolipoproteins, if they are not measured, we don't understand the risk. We don't catch the risk. And when we don't catch the risk, we can't treat the people. There are also several other emerging biomarkers. There's a lot of interest with amino acids in relation to diabetes risk. Fatty acids, omega-3, omega-6 are very, very interesting emerging markers. And all this is included in Nightingale's panel. So the point really is that when you broaden the window to biology, things look different. And then, very important point, when we follow up the individuals, when we follow up the treatment, we can actually understand how drugs, how exercise, how it actually affects to the individuals. Is fish eating healthy? Is an exercise program, is it making any effort? We look what happens in molecular level. And when we look this kind of effect in molecular level, we can connect the exercise, we can connect the diet to actual medical outputs. So to summarize, data is something that is kind of everyone is talking about data, big data, artificial intelligence. They are mostly big words. The problem is that any data is not good. It doesn't help if you know the shoe size of an individual. The correlation to diabetes risk is most likely not very good. There is no magic. There is nothing that can turn bad data into good understanding. There is, of course, there is data that can be utilized in the current healthcare system. Of course, if you put all the clinical data, prescription data, intervention data together, you get results, of course. But how we see the future of healthcare is actually that we need biological data. But not any biological data. We need biological data that is associated with the disease that we try to understand. When we have that data, and what Nightingale's technology and several publications show, we can actually start to understand better health and disease. And when we do this, that will be the future of healthcare. Thank you.